preps to pros and everything in between. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yow.
Welcome in. It's Thursday, and we are coming to you live from the Lee Company studio in the Front Porch Sports headquarters of WKOM 1017 FM, and welcome into our friends down at WZYX, The Eagle. Glad to have you all along with us on this fantastic and beautiful Thursday afternoon, 7 minutes past the hour. I'm Chris Yow, joined by Mo Patton. And of course, JP Plant. We are internless. It's sad, but it's okay. We'll make it.
They all leave the nest sooner or later.
Sooner or later. And that's we're fine with it. It's okay. I'm okay. I'm not crying. You're crying. Seriously, fellas, what's going on? It's Thursday, and it's that means it's Friday Eve, and that's really what matters.
I'm good with that.
I am too.
I'm ready for Friday Eve. I'm ready for Friday and everything that comes after that.
Same. And this week going to be fun. Heading down to Alabama to see the folks and nieces and all that. Called my mom today to make sure that, hey, I'm coming down. She's like, oh, man, them girls are going to be so excited. Yeah, to see Charlie. Except my youngest niece really loves me. She's like, oh, Uncle Chris is coming. Uncle Chris. She doesn't care. She's like, she wants to see Charlie, but she's like, hey, Uncle Chris. And I'm like, yes, you're my favorite.
Well,
you're my favorite niece.
I can just tell you, you should probably get used to that
Charlie's dad,
because it's going to happen a lot more.
Way more.
Yeah.
That's your new name now, Charlie's dad. We got a lot to get to today, and I mean a lot. It's a jam-packed show.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot that has happened in the last 22
hours,
26
ish
hours, yeah. And we're really not even in a position to tell you everything that has happened.
No, we're not. But
we will be.
We will be, and when we do, it's going to be like you dropped the bomb on me.
Don't.
No, you don't. You know that was the number one song in Afghanistan for like 4 years. Dad jokes are terrible. Oh, man. JP is running the board and the video today, which means he is all busy as a bee, and we appreciate it.
Buzz, buzz.
I hope that's all he says for the whole show. He's going to like drop in and be like, buzz, buzz. What? Huh? What was that?
Just up out of nowhere. Just
buzz. What? Huh? What? What are you talking about? Oh, man. But, yeah, seriously, ton to get to today. We will continue our college football previews today. We've got the Ohio Valley Conference, which features Tennessee State and Tennessee Tech and Tennessee Martin, Murray State, and not Eastern Kentucky or JSU. They said deuces. Boy, I tell you, when they, much like Oklahoma and Texas, they kind of just dipped, and they were like, it came out of nowhere, and boom.
Well,
done.
here's the thing.
Gone.
They said they were leaving, and then they left. I mean, we still don't know how long Oklahoma and Texas are going to be hanging out after the divorce papers have been served. You know?
And they have been served, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. So.
JSU and EKU will not be part of this.
Yeah.
And so we'll talk a lot about that. We will visit with Edward Allen Marlowe of WKDZ Radio to talk OVC. We'll talk with John Glennon to talk a little Titans and Tanny Hill and everything else that goes along with that.
We're also going to talk some high school football, obviously, for our
previews continue.
Our listeners at the Eagle,
Yeah,
94.5. We're going to be previewing your Rebels.
FC.
Franklin County.
So we will get to them in the second hour, so stick around for that. We've got Landon Sechrist of Seacoast Sports and Spring Hill graduate joining us in the next segment to talk about the NBA draft that's tonight. And, of course, we've got 2 Braves games to talk about. So one good, one bad.
I think we're going to focus on the latter.
Well, I think we can focus on one person and be good. So there's that. So we'll get to all of that in the show. But first, top stories. Breaking news yesterday. Zion Christian Academy has now officially given notice to their 2021 scheduled opponents that they will not be competing in 11-man football and will instead assume the schedule of Riverside Christian in 8-man football, and will play 7 games that they have on the schedule and hopefully an 8th at some point, but they will play 8-man football. And I'll tell you, I don't know a whole lot about 8-man football.
The next 8-man football game I see will be my first 8-man football game, and I imagine that will be August 14th when the Zion Eagles travel to South Haven Christian School in Springfield.
There you go.
So they will play, according to this schedule, which is a 7-game schedule on our website at sm-tnsports.com. There's an 8th game possible for them, but they've got 7 games scheduled, 3 at home, 4 on the road. Their first one is a road game. Their last 3 are road games. In the middle, they've got home games on August 20th against Franklin Classical School, August 27th against Providence Christian, and September 10th against Franklin Christian. So
seems, I'll be interested. I've seen 8-man football before. I'm interested to see how this plays out for Zion Christian. I think that as far as the numbers are concerned, it's the best thing for their program. I mean, you're talking about having 14 kids and 3 of them have never played organized football before. So 11 kids really can't play both. You can't play the schedule that they had set out and feel like those kids are going to be safe doing so. So therefore, this was the best move for them, and I hope it works out. I hope this helps them get their numbers up.
Yeah, I mean those are the 2 things. You hope that they can take a step back to take a few steps forward. Maybe they can take a step back, increase their participation, and get back to the 11-man level, which I think is where they would like to be. And you know, as Zion officials have said, the safety of their athletes is paramount. And as you said, with 14 players, 3 of whom had never played organized football, getting ready to play folks like, you know, Richland and Mount Pleasant and Summertown and Eagleville, people like that, certainly had the potential to have some safety issues.
Right. And so I'm not at all. I'm upset because obviously there are now 9 teams that are looking for games.
There are 9 teams that are, in all likelihood,
8
going to be short. I mean, sitting here on July 29th, the possibility of finding
there's a possibility for 1 or 2 of them to either play each other or play the team that's looking for a game on September 24th or October 1st. The 3 teams that are off on September 24th are First Assembly, Richland, and Summertown. Richland and Summertown already play each other, but I don't see any reason why they couldn't play each other again. So
home and home. They do it in the NFL. Why not?
I mean, one of them just wouldn't count for the region. It would be the second. That September 24th game just wouldn't count against the region schedule, and it's a chance to work on what you saw in game one.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, they were scheduled to play Grace Christian in their opener at Zion, then go to Richland, then play consecutive home games against Mount Pleasant, Eagleville, and Summertown, then play on the road at First Assembly Christian, at Grundy County, and at Wayne County. That Wayne County game was scheduled to be Wayne County's senior night.
Ooh,
and then they were supposed to close the season against Cornersville. So you're talking about 6 or 7 teams that have got shots at postseason play on that schedule. So
yeah,
and the idea of going up against them with 3 reserves,
not a good idea.
Yeah, so
good call. I think that's just my opinion. Get the numbers up, and then perhaps an 11-man team would be something that you can look at in the future. And I hope they get back there. I really do. We're sitting, speaking of late in the game, find out yesterday that Hampshire is now looking for a girls basketball coach. So we've found out that one is looking and one has been hired. So we'll tell you about that hire a little later after we get it up on the website.
Yeah.
We're going to keep that one close to the chest.
Yeah.
But Hampshire girls basketball coach Ronnie Brewer taking an assistant principal's job at East Hickman, leaving the Lady Hawks coachless
for the moment. So yeah, that's a team that went 16-9 last year, 19-8 the year before under Brewer. Had some success, gotten into the region tournament the last 3 years now, and looking to try to continue that with a nice nucleus out there. So they'll be trying to get that position filled and hopefully keep rolling. So,
as you mentioned here, Culleoka girls search is over. We hope. But we're going to say that it just hasn't been announced yet. So,
right. Ditto for Spring Hill.
Spring Hill, same. And then Columbia Central softball could be it could be a while.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've got at least a couple of months that they can take to try and fill that position. Braden Moore, Christ Presbyterian shooting guard, senior, headed to Rutgers. Interesting choice.
I think so. Number 7 prospect in Tennessee, 6'8", 210, shot 38% from 3 last year. Again, 6'8", 210, shot 38% from 3.
He was deadly against CA in that Friday night game.
Averaged 18.5 points a game. I can't imagine that. Because it looked like every time I saw him,
it was 25.
30.
Yeah.
So anyway, also 8 rebounds, and again, 38% from 3. Had offers from Kansas, Notre Dame, West Virginia, Arkansas, Georgetown, Auburn, Arizona State, St. John's, Georgia Tech, among 3 dozen or so offers.
Those are some big names. I mean, you don't just turn Kansas down, but right now you don't know what conference Kansas is going to be in. So,
but you know what conference Rutgers is going to be in.
Well, they're going to be in a Power 5 conference probably. I don't know what Kansas is going to do. I couldn't tell you.
Indications were that he had narrowed things down to Nebraska, Wisconsin, and Rutgers. So he
likes
really
the Big Ten. And being cold, apparently.
I guess, yeah. Visited all 3 of those last month when it wasn't as cold, but settled on.
That's how they get you. They get you to visit in the summer where it's real nice. You're like, man, this is way better than Tennessee until it's, December.
Yeah. So he was going to the Big Ten. He's a Scarlet Knight, and we'll see what happens with that.
And finally, tomorrow, some scrimmages. Summit at Riverdale, Overton at Independence. Columbia Central goes down to Lawrence County. Hickman County is at Columbia Academy. Spring Hill travels to Lebanon. Huntland will be at Richland, and Mount Pleasant is at Cornersville. Those are tomorrow's scrimmages for high school football. We'll give you that schedule one more time tomorrow during the show. Speaking of schedules, JP, might as well give them the rundown.
This is the rundown.
The Thursday rundown is brought to you by Barry B. Coble of Crest Point Wealth Management. She offers personalized wealth management strategies for clients based on where you are in your financial journey. Go see Barry at Crest Point Wealth Management, 700 North Main Street in Columbia. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services are offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Crest Point Wealth Management and Cambridge are not affiliated.
Baseball action of area interest on Wednesday. The Indians defeated the Cardinals 7-2. It was the Brewers 7, the Pirates 3, the Mets edged the Braves 2-1, and the Reds 8, the Cubs 2.
In Thursday action today already, the Atlanta Braves defeat the New York Mets by a score of 6-3. That's always good when the Braves can get a win over the Mets. The Reds and Cubs are currently in the top of the ninth, and the Reds lead 7-3 over Chicago with 2 outs.
In Thursday activity, the NBA draft is scheduled for tonight. Pre-draft coverage begins on ESPN at 6:30. The draft itself begins at 7. Will be shown on both ESPN and ABC.
In Olympic basketball action, if you stay up, there may be on TV, it may not be, I don't know. Team USA and Japan play women's basketball at 3:40 a.m. This coming Friday morning, and then stick around because baseball takes on Israel, Team USA and Israel at 5 a.m. also Friday morning. So that's going to do it for your Thursday rundown, brought to you by Barry B. Coble at Crest Point Wealth Management on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. All right, let's talk to Landon Sechrist on the other side of the break, so stick around. This is Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We will be right back to the Lee Company studio right after this.
Parks Motor Sales in Columbia has a large assortment of quality new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, a trusted sales staff, and financing plans that fit any budget. Visit Parks once and you'll quickly discover why people all over Middle Tennessee have been buying vehicles there for more than 60 years. And factory certified technicians can service and repair your vehicle as long as you own it. Go to parksmotorsales.com or stop by the lot at 919 Nashville Highway and take a test drive today.
Are you thinking about a new fence? Maybe you need a pole barn. Then you should give Sands Fence Company a call. That's 931-309-1644. Will Sands has built his business based on the principles of honesty, quality, and integrity. Sands Fence Company has been in business for over 20 years, providing the community with farm, residential, and commercial fencing, as well as pole barns and buildings. Call today for a free estimate. Sands Fence Company, 931-309-1644. 931-309-1644.
Hi, I'm Steve, the garbage man. Have you been hauling your own garbage to the convenience center? Are you tired of doing it? Does your work schedule keep you from hauling it off regularly? Is your teenage son not taking it off like he promised when he got his driver's license? Do you have something better to do on Saturday? If any of these questions strike home to you, call the garbage man at 931-540-0919 and your problem will be solved.
Do you know Tillis Jewelry creates custom one-of-a-kind pieces that are available in our store now?
Hello, this is Rick Tillis, and that's right. We are known for our custom designs. We create jewelry using old mine cut or European cut diamonds to rare colored gemstones. We create these custom pieces for each season. I'm sure you can find something for yourself or a loved one.
Stop by our showroom and try on a Tillis Jewelry custom piece today. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram to view our designs and much more.
American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is built to a higher standard, so you can focus on the problems in your life that actually matter, like the drywall that somehow isn't. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, built to a higher standard.
Call Davis Heating and Cooling at 931-388-2090. Davis Heating and Cooling is your local American Standard dealer and proudly serves the Maury County area. Find Davis Heating and Cooling online and on Facebook or call today, 388-2090.
For 40 years, Beck Dental Care has been the personalized and comfortable option for the health of your smile. The caring staff maintains a high level of safety protocols and attention to detail. Advanced technology provides your choice of sedation and the best of dental implant solutions to restore complete oral health. Open until 7 p.m. 2 nights a week. 931-388-8452. Beck Dental Care in Columbia, 1603 Rosewood Drive.
Sports talk show you've always wanted. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. From preps to pros. Live from the Lee Company studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, approaching the bottom of hour number 1. Happy to have you with us here on this Thursday edition of the show down in Franklin County, WZYX 94.5 The Eagle. We come to you from the Lee Company studio in the Front Porch Sports headquarters of WKOM 1017 FM. Breaking news, Mo.
Yeah, before we get to our segment 2 guest, friend of the show, Jeff Duncan, brought to my attention that
as we were talking about Braden Moore.
As we were talking about CPA/Rutgers commit Braden Moore, a longtime CPA boys basketball coach Drew Maddox has announced his resignation this afternoon. Reading again from his Facebook post, Drew is following a new calling in the business sector and will serve as Executive Vice President of People Development with Dufresne Spencer Group. Current associate head coach Kevin Maggard will begin as the interim head varsity boys basketball coach for the Lions on August 11th. He has spent the past 3 years with Maddox and the CPA boys varsity basketball team and has over 15 years coaching experience and believes in the purpose of transforming lives for the gospel through athletics. So,
Drew's quote.
Drew's quote, "There are not enough words to express the deep level of gratitude I have to the leadership, staff, community, and families associated with this special place. I've experienced individual growth, gained invaluable relationships, and enjoyed some of life's greatest moments because of my opportunity to be a part of this ministry. One of the greatest joys of my life has been coaching the CPA Lions, and I will forever cherish our memories. I am better because of being your coach."
So, that's pretty cool.
Former Good Pasture standout, former Vanderbilt standout, and longtime Christ Presbyterian boys basketball coach Drew Maddox moving away from that. So
there you go. That's interesting there.
It really is. Still a relatively young guy. A lot that he can do in this next phase. So, looking forward to seeing what that is.
No doubt. We go to the phone lines now as Landon Sechrist of Seco Sports joins us on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. And we're going to talk a little NBA draft. And be honest with you, Landon, the first thing that I need to ask you is not what Mo thinks I want to ask, because I just saw you just retweeted this, man. The Lakers and Wizards are in talks on a Russell Westbrook to L.A. trade?
Yes, they are. I just saw that on Twitter, and I am speechless at this moment because I knew a trade was going to happen, but I did not know that the Los Angeles Lakers would get involved at something to this magnitude, getting Russell Westbrook. If Russell Westbrook's gone, you got to think that Bradley Beal is going to be on the move tonight too. So it's just going to get crazier and crazier.
Man, that is something. I mean, to be honest with you, we knew the Lakers wanted somebody dynamic to go with that that Anthony Davis, LeBron James, but boy, Russell Westbrook in a Laker uniform would just be detrimental to my mental health.
Are there enough basketballs to go around with Westbrook, AD, and LeBron on the court at the same time?
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking too.
I am trying to find the tweet, Landon, because I scrolled away from it and I never can find that stuff again. But apparently the 76ers made the Warriors an offer trying to get their number 7 and number 14 along with some players in exchange for Ben Wallace. Are you familiar with that offer at all?
Yes. They offered, I believe it was Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, number 7 pick, the number 14 pick in this draft, and a future pick for Ben Simmons, and the 76ers declined. So that
the 76ers, what the 76ers declined that? The Warriors offered all that for Ben Simmons?
No. Okay. That's what the 76ers wanted in return.
Oh, okay, and the Warriors declined it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
Warriors
all right.
declined.
Thank you. Okay. I feel better.
Yeah, because that would have been.
Yeah, because I think if you're Philadelphia and you had the opportunity to make that move, you do. But
is Ben Simmons on the block? Because honestly, it feels like he's kind of gotten the cold shoulder out in Philly.
Yeah, I really do think he's on the block. I just don't know who's really going to be a taker at this point. His playoff performance and all of the slander he got during the series with Atlanta, we just don't know what the perception of him is from other teams around the league. Do they think he's really still an all-NBA, all-star type player, or do they think he's pretty much garbage because of the way he played in the playoffs? So that's something that the 76ers are going to have to try and balance when they're looking for trade offers.
Doesn't the truth lie somewhere in the middle of that?
Yeah, I think so. Often players have bad series. I don't think you can trade someone based off of one bad series, but it looks like that's what they're going to do, basing it off of just the Atlanta series, how poorly he played. But I know Ben Simmons is a pretty solid player, and he's going to produce. If he gets traded, I think he's going to have a breakout season wherever he goes.
Speaking with Landon Seacrest of Seacoast Sports, talking NBA draft right now, and Landon, I saw that you had gotten, or you've posted on Twitter that you can hear your mock draft, and so since we're here, who you got number 1?
I think everyone has Detroit taking Cade Cunningham at this point. It's a no-brainer in my opinion. He's definitely the best player in this draft.
Come on, man. You're just going to go with the crowd, huh? Just going to go with the crowd.
Yeah.
Hey, if the crowd is right.
I don't think you can pass on him. You can't pass on him.
Okay, so who's number 2 then?
I wanted Houston to go with Evan Mobley. They have Christian Wood, and I think getting Twin Towers, that'd be a good look for them. But I really think they're going to go Jalen Green now. They've been looking to add dynamic backcourt mates to John Wall and Kevin Porter Jr. I think they're going to add Jalen Green. He's definitely one of those players. He's modeled after Zach LaVine, an explosive guard in the backcourt.
Give us the rest of your top 10.
All right. With Cleveland, I have them taking Evan Mobley since Houston will pass on them. Toronto taking Jalen Suggs. Kyle Lowry might possibly be on the move. They're going to look to replace somebody in that guard slot. Orlando is going to keep taking long, lanky, versatile forwards. They're going to go with Scotty Barnes out of Florida State. Oklahoma City at 6 is going to go with James Bouknight out of UConn. He's a 2 guard that can really score. At 7, Golden State, it's really a mystery what they're going to do. If they're going to package it in a trade offer like we talked about before, I have them taking Jonathan Kuminga. He's the best prospect available at that point. Orlando at number 8, I have them taking Moses Moody out of Arkansas. He's a forward, can really score. Franz Wagner at number 9 going to Sacramento. He's a versatile forward, again, that can score, can fill it up on the offensive end. And then rounding out the top 10, the Memphis Grizzlies, I have them selecting the first international prospect of this draft, Josh Giddey from the New Zealand Basketball League. He's a point guard. He's pretty tall, and I think he's a bit of a mystery, but the Grizzlies are going to take a gamble on him at number 10.
Speaking with Landon Sechrest of Seco Sports regarding tonight's NBA draft, again, pre-draft coverage begins at 6:30 on ESPN. The draft starts at 7 on both ABC and ESPN. Locally, Landon, former Webb School standout, former UT standout, Keon Johnson. How high does he go?
I really was looking for a place for him to go in the lottery, but there's so many good players in that back of the lottery slot from picks 11 to 14. I just don't see him really getting into the lottery. But in picks 15 to 19, I can definitely see a place for Keon to go. Maybe at OKC at number 16 or number 18 to have another pick. I really want to see him land with OKC, but I feel like he's going to go between the 15 to 20 range.
And what about Jaden Springer, the other UT guard?
Jaden Springer, I've heard a lot of NBA scouts are really high on him because he has defensive potential and he really has offensive potential on both ends of the court. I see him going in the later first round, teams like Phoenix picking at the very end, Utah, pick range from 27 to 30. I can see him landing somewhere in there.
There you have it. I'm really excited. What's going to be the big surprise of the night? Do you think there's a big trade coming? I mean, obviously we're talking about Russell Westbrook. We're talking about Ben Simmons. Something's going to happen and just throw a wrench in everything, right?
Yes, I really think that Golden State is going to shake it up. Whoever they're going to draft, they're going to pick someone that they weren't expecting, or they're going to package those picks to maybe get a superstar that nobody knew was coming. It might not even be Bradley Beal. It might be someone that they've been watching and nobody knows about. So that's going to be something to watch and monitor as the draft progresses tonight. What's going to go on with the Golden State Warriors?
You know, Landon, Atlanta makes it to the NBA Eastern Finals. They are sitting there with the number 20 pick overall. How do you see them fortifying themselves to kind of build on that momentum from this past postseason?
Well, like you said, Atlanta made that surprise run, and a lot of teams are going to be looking to really pick that player that's going to get them over the top. Since you saw Atlanta and Phoenix make surprise runs into the playoffs this year, I really see the Hawks adding a young point guard, a young guard to add to the backcourt. They really have Lou Williams, who's a bit older, and Chris Dunn, who's a bit of a raw prospect. He really hasn't shown and lived up to his hype that he was drafted a few years ago. So I think they go with somebody like Josh Primo out of Alabama to back up Trae Young in the guard spot. I think they're pretty good on the wing and in the front court.
I would agree with that completely. Landon Sechrest of Seco Sports talking NBA draft. That NBA draft is tonight. You can watch it on ABC, ESPN pre-draft coverage at 6:30 on ESPN. The draft begins at 7. You can see it on ABC. Landon, thanks so much for taking some time with us today, man. You got anything else?
Yeah, before we let Landon go, Landon, you put up a mock draft. You gave us your top 10. Where can everybody find your mock draft?
My mock draft will be posted on my Twitter feed, Seco on Sports on Twitter. I'll be responding to all of the picks to see if I am accurate with all my predictions, to see my opinions. You can follow me on Twitter
at SECOONSPORTS, Seco on Sports. Landon, again, thank you, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. I guess we can just tell you this before we get out of here. Brett McMurphy, Sam Conn Jr., everyone has now, as we told you,
14-0,
the unanimous vote of the Southeastern Conference to invite Oklahoma and Texas. So there you go.
14-0.
Can't believe it.
That includes.
Can't imagine.
That includes Texas A&M.
And LSU and Missouri
and Arkansas.
Everybody
else said yes. Come on.
There we go.
There.
Wow. I'm not surprised. You're not surprised. We told you. We told you that was going to happen. So,
Nicole Auerbach, 2 notes. Yes, of course, the vote was going to end up being unanimous. And no one expects that it'll take until 25 for us to see Oklahoma and Texas competing in the SEC.
There you go. That's exactly what we told you here yesterday.
For a lot less money.
All right, when we come back, it's Braves and Sounds. Talk a little baseball. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint, returning to the Lee Company studio right after this. Stick around.
One-stop shopping. That's why so many people shop Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Fiat of Columbia. As the #1 volume CDJR dealer in Tennessee, we offer the largest selection of new Ram, Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler vehicles. And when you have the largest selection of new, you have the largest selection of used, too. Combine that with state-of-the-art, fast, accurate service, and you've got Tennessee's #1 volume dealer. Shop online at Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram of Columbia.net. Middle Tennessee's Ram Truck and Jeep headquarters. You can count on us. Based on combined retail and fleet sales as awarded by Chrysler in the state of Tennessee in 2019.
Hello, I'm Barbara Lincoln with Hollins Pharmacy. You may have heard our previous commercials about compression hosiery that we carry at Hollins Pharmacy. Well, we've recently expanded into a full line of knee braces, back, wrist, ankle, and other support wear. We will gladly help you get just the right fit for these items and, of course, special order items to ensure the proper fit. Come see us at Hollins Pharmacy, 1608 Hatcher Lane, or call us at 931-388-4233. 388-4233.
If you come to Arby's from 2 to 5 p.m., you can get sliders for $1. For another $1, you can get a small drink or fries or a snack shake. And for the low price of another $1, you can round out this afternoon snack with warm cookies. It's really a meal at this point, but call it a snack. That way, you can come back for dinner. Arby's, we have the meat.
Dollar price valid for small fries and drinks, snack shakes, and classic sliders. Available at participating locations for a limited time.
Nice Traeger grill. Thanks, man. Hiller gave it to us for free when I bought my new HVAC unit. We also upgraded to a tankless water heater and got this free Yeti cooler. What a deal.
This month, when you buy select new HVAC systems from Hiller, we'll give you a free Traeger grill. And you'll get a free Yeti cooler when you buy a new tankless water heater. Enjoy great upgrades for your home and some free backyard upgrades for your family. Visit happyhiller.com today.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Serving Murray County for 40 years, the Jewelers Bench has provided the highest quality jewelry at the very best prices. They work hard to make their customers happy, and it's paid off. Their customers keep going back. Quality jewelry, custom vintage and estate pieces, and professional jewelry and watch repairs. We offer jewelry loans up to $4,500, and we will buy your gold. The Jewelers Bench, still here, still the same. 808 Trotwood Avenue, Columbia.
Terrence here at Shepherd Lumberyard, where we value you, the customer. We've been serving Columbia and surrounding areas since 1946. We're located in our new location at 103 Cemetery Avenue. Anything that has to do with building or remodeling, we're here to assist. When you shop local, you help shape the community. We are locally owned, family owned, and veteran owned. And by the way, God is in charge. You can reach us at 931-388-3612, and our website is shepherdlumberyard@yahoo.com.
When the Braves play, Chris and Mo are talking about it.
Yeah, that's trash can juice.
Speak for yourself.
For better or worse, on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Back to the Lee Company studio. Yep, they're fans too. Here's Chris and Mo.
Welcome back into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint, coming to you from the Lee Company studio in the Front Porch Sports headquarters of WKOM 101.7 FM and WZYX 94.5 The Eagle. It's been a good day if you're a Braves fan. It's been a good week if you're Austin Riley. Because, jeez. Braves go 5-4 over the 9-game road road trip and come out ahead of the Mets 3-2 in that 5-game series. Now standing 4 games back of the division leading Mets, but still yet to eclipse 500.
At no point in those 9 games that they win consecutive games.
None.
But they didn't.
But they
lose.
won more than they lost.
Well, they didn't lose consecutive games, so I mean,
there you go.
I don't know. At some point, though, they're going to have to win.
At least 2 in a row, right?
They're going to have to put a streak together to close the gap on the Mets, because I don't think the Mets are going to come back to them. You know?
Yeah, no. I don't know. The Mets have not been great lately.
The Mets haven't been great
but they've not been great all year, and they're still the division-leading Mets.
Right.
So there's that. And here's the thing. First off, before we do anything else, this segment is brought to you by Zion Christian Academy, and we're going to talk Braves throughout this Zion Christian Academy segment. But first, we need to tell you that ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. That's 931-388-5731. And ZionEagles.org is the way to schedule your appointment for a tour today in the event you want to play some 8-man football. It's a fun game. You can throw it around.
Well, I mean,
lots of throwing.
It's virtually the same space and 3 fewer people.
Yeah, well, it's 80 yards instead of 100, but yes.
Okay, but I mean,
yeah, it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah,
the width is the same, and that's that's a lot of space to cover.
So if you've got some speed and you can get the corner, you can make some big plays.
There you go.
I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. But let's talk about Austin Riley.
Let's do.
This guy has been just hitting the cover off the ball.
Hotter than fish grease. What's he got, 4 home runs in the last 3 games? Does that sound right?
1 today, 2 yesterday, and then 2 days ago. He had the grand slam and the solo in the same game.
Right, in the Tuesday night game.
Yes.
And 1 yesterday.
1 yesterday, 1 today.
So yeah, 4 in his last 3 games.
My goodness. And today he had another RBI single.
Yeah.
I think he went 3 for 3.
I think he finally went 3 for 4. I think he was retired in his final at bat.
Well, that's right, because I said they finally got him.
Yeah.
But his month has just been insane. In July, 28 hits, 8 home runs, 23 ribbies, and he's hit 322 in the month. So that's a solid month of July. Here's the thing is the Braves have got the 2 best hitters in the National League in the entire month of July and still can't put it together.
The offense has just been so inconsistent. I mean, they win 6-3 yesterday. They lose 2-1. They won 6-3 today. They lose 2-1 yesterday. They win 12-5 Tuesday night. And then, what was it? They won 2-0 and lost 1-0 in the doubleheader on Monday?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they scored 2 runs in 14 innings on Monday.
Couldn't even spread those out.
Yeah.
It's troubling.
And what's troubling about it is, again, you're getting starting pitching that's sufficient to win ball games consistently. Your offense is a little sporadic, and your bullpen is not dependable.
What's frustrating is when the offense is on fire and the pitching is meh. But not bad enough to lose because the offense is on fire. But when the offense can't hit, our pitching seems to be as dominant as anybody in the country. So I just don't get it.
What's crazy is, like, you know, Tuesday night when you've got Charlie Morton going is when you decide to go out and score 12 runs.
Right. I mean,
Charlie doesn't need all those runs.
That's what we said. We, score 12 when Bryce Wilson is pitching. Although he pitched well in the second game of that doubleheader, we lost 1-0. I mean, he pitched as well as you could in this series too. So it's so frustrating because this team can be so good. Like Peter Moylan said, this Braves team is good, y'all. And I said, yeah, but tomorrow's team's going to stink because they're two different teams.
And I saw something somewhere. I think they are 16-19 in one-run games this year. Last year they were 28-16. Is that right? Last year, or was it the year before that they were 28-16?
No, they were 28-16 last year. I know that doesn't sound right because we only played
60 games,
but every game it felt like we were walking it off. And it's just insane to me how this has
with so many of the same
regressed
guys.
With so many of the same. But it's all the bullpen. The bullpen is exactly the same. I mean, almost identical, other than Inoa isn't in it. And Martin Lanson isn't.
Both Inoa and d'Arnaud on rehab assignments now?
They are on rehab assignments, so we should get them back here soon. And as Chip told you, getting d'Arnaud back at the trade deadline is like making a trade and not losing anybody. Because I can tell you, either Kevin Smith or Vogt or whoever or both of them will not be on the roster the day that Travis d'Arnaud comes back.
Certainly Kevin Smith.
Neither
Kevin
one of those
with
guys.
an A.
Just for that fact alone.
The former Pitt quarterback. He can get gone.
See ya. Got nothing.
Go take some snaps. Yeah.
Elsewhere. Not here in Atlanta.
You ain't got to go home.
Yeah.
Can't stay here.
And at that point, I have to imagine that they'll probably at least bring, Contreras back to back up. I would imagine. I don't know, but
I don't know. I think Vogt is fairly serviceable.
I mean, he doesn't hit any better. So that's the question: is what do you do? Are you? Because Contreras, if he can play at the backup level, you want him to be up.
But do you though, or do you want him playing every day and developing?
I don't think he's going to be
any more than what he is.
Mainly because he's a career backup if he stays in Atlanta. Because Shane Langeliers is the catcher of the future.
Well, you tend to think that.
One or the other. He's either going to play every day in Gwinnett for the rest of his life, or he can come up here and be a backup forever, or we can trade him off maybe to Chicago, who really likes Contreras as who catch.
So, going back to this Oklahoma, Texas, just a second. Ryan McGee, the SEC voting unanimously for and A&M publicly supporting the OU Texas edition is not a surprise. Ever since Mike Slive told his schools to stop with the out loud fighting, they've all seen the benefit of that. But this would be a great night to own a liquor store in College Station.
Because they only care about what they said before they went out. And that's all I'm saying. Tonight, can't say the rest of that quote, but anyway, it's Thirsty Thursday in College Station, and if you're around, I probably wouldn't be.
Yeah, you might want to get inside.
Give us a damn Braves history.
Oh, yeah, I almost forgot. July 29, 2008, in a surprising pre-draft trade deadline move. The Braves and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim swapped first baseman, with Atlanta sending former Georgia Tech and Texas Rangers standout Mark Teixeira west in exchange for Casey Kotchman and minor league pitcher Steve Merrick. Teixeira was acquired with reliever Ron Mayhay at the 2007 deadline from Texas, with the Braves sending catcher Jared Saltalamacchia, shortstop Elvis Andrus, and pitchers Neftali Perez, Matt Harrison, and Bo Jones to Texas. Trade widely panned as the worst in Braves history.
Yeah, Andrews and Saltalamacchia turned out to have pretty good careers.
Yeah, and Teixeira, while okay,
he was good in Atlanta, not great. He was awful everywhere else after that.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't good for L.A. He wasn't good for New York. He was
done.
Whatever happened from Texas to Atlanta. I mean, Atlanta, like I said, he was serviceable,
but he wasn't great.
But
and
it would have been nice to have Neftali Perez, Elvis Andrus, and Saltalamacchia for a while, though.
Yeah, Matt Harrison wasn't bad there for a little bit either. So yeah, tough trade for the Braves. They don't lose many. They lost that one.
Yeah. That's one of my. I loved the Saltalamacchia. That was one of the most fun names that we had, and all name teams.
Oh, no doubt.
That's one of them. Real quick, Sounds. They lose last night 6-2 to the Clippers, and try again tonight 7:05 First Horizon Park. It's Thirsty Thursday, and Throwback Thursday.
So they'll have on
they'll wear the
Swinging Sounds jerseys.
Have the Swinging Sounds jerseys on, and they'll be fun to watch. So go check them out. They did not get the walk-off last night.
They did not get the walk-off or otherwise. Again, losing 6-2. So fall to 42-31 with that loss. Columbus improves to 32-40 with the win. 7:05 start tonight at First Horizon Park.
I was trying to find out who's we're TBD on the pitcher tonight.
So, oh, really?
Yeah, we don't have a pitcher yet. So
okay,
there you go. That's what I was looking for.
Show up and see.
There you go. Luxury suites are available tonight. $500, 8 tickets, food and drink. Can't beat that. When we come back on the other side of the break, John Glennon of Broadway Sports joins the show. Talk Titans and Tannehill and training camp and all the words that begin with T. So stick around. It's almost Thursday evening. We're so close. Stick around. On the other side of the break, it's John Glennon. This is Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. We'll be right back to the Lee Company studio right after this.
New Jersey. The new mask mandates are spreading. Lisa Brady, Fox News. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser announcing one today that will start on Saturday.
People over the age of 2 must wear a mask indoors regardless of their vaccination status.
It is for indoor areas. That's in line with the CDC's new guidance, which is fueling a fresh round of rules and pushback from coast to coast. That guidance is for areas with higher transmission rates of COVID as the Delta variant spreads. And today, the CDC says that includes over 69% of U.S. counties. The president is set to make his latest COVID remarks, expected to include new rules for federal workers. He's also urging Congress to extend a ban on evictions, which is set to expire Saturday. Officials in Texas sounding the alarm about an ongoing migrant surge and rising COVID cases. Fox's Rich Edson in La Jolla.
And more migrants continue to come to this area. In fact, Customs and Border Protection, Border Patrol, they're putting migrants onto a bus right now. Just as they're doing that, behind me, more people are coming over from the Rio Grande River, which is just about a mile from here.
Police say a charity has rented a hotel to house COVID-positive migrants released by the federal government, with only notices to appear at a local immigration office in the U.S. within the next 60 days. Texas Lieutenant Governor Ken Paxton telling Fox News.
We've got the spread of COVID going on at a greater rate than we did just a few months ago. And so it's really irresponsible and dangerous for the Biden administration to continue this practice.
Vice President Harris laying out a broad strategy to address root causes of migration, including economic issues, violence, and corruption, but acknowledging it'll take time. Border Patrol says over 20,000 migrants were apprehended last week just in the Rio Grande Valley sector. America is listening to Fox News.
School's out for summer, but if your business is running QuickBooks, you'll never get a break.
NetSuite by Oracle is the #1 cloud financial system, no matter how big your business grows. With visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR, e-commerce, and more, NetSuite is everything you need to grow all in one place. NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind financing program to those ready to graduate.
Head to netsuite.com/Fox right now. netsuite.com/Fox.
A horrifying discovery during a traffic stop in Baltimore.
Baltimore County Police say they conducted a traffic stop late Wednesday night in which officers found the bodies of 2 dead children inside the car. We're only told the driver of the vehicle is in custody as Baltimore County detectives continue to investigate. The bodies of the children now at the county medical examiner's office. No cause of death or IDs given.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. Coffee prices keep going up, and it's blamed on weather, not COVID.
This caffeine catastrophe is all due to the extreme drought and colder temperatures devastating Brazil, the world's largest producer of Arabica coffee beans. With the worst drought in roughly a century, killing as much as 70% of the coffee crops in some areas, farmers are struggling to harvest enough beans to meet global demand. It's causing the cost of Arabica coffee beans to rise by the highest amount in 5 years. But besides a lack of rainfall, a vicious cold snap is proving catastrophic.
Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer. There's snow on the ground in southern Brazil, which rarely gets it, and more possible. New Jersey is giving some of its most famous natives a unique honor. Fox's Tanya J. Powers.
New Jersey is honoring some of its sons and daughters by renaming some of its rest stops after them. Governor Phil Murphy says 9 service areas along the Garden State Parkway will now be named for members of the New Jersey Hall of Fame, including John Bon Jovi, late Sopranos actor James Gandolfini, authors Judy Blume and Toni Morrison, Whitney Houston, journalist Connie Chung, and Frank Sinatra.
But the Hall of Fame says Bruce Springsteen respectfully declined. On Wall Street, stocks hitting new highs, the Dow up 153 points at the close, finishing at 35,084. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
A lot of my friends basically went to work for the cartels right off the bat.
Ed Calderon spent his career confronting Mexico's ruthless drug cartels face to face.
Nightly raids on different houses and places where people were suspected of storing drugs.
The former paramilitary law enforcement officer was born and raised in what he calls one of the most heavily trafficked cities on the planet, Tijuana.
The vehicle carrying this man, the assistant chief of Tijuana's municipal police, sits riddled with bullets.
He was found probably 12 hours later with his ID screwed into his forehead, tortured to death, basically. It scared the out of all of us.
Ed acquired a set of unique survival skills that has earned him the nickname the Sneak Reaper. A bag of tricks that make special operators nervous and maybe even a little jealous.
In exactly 2 minutes, I'm going to start putting more restraints on you.
To the two-tone blue, covering the teams you care about. It's only on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Coming to you live from the Lee Company studio. Front Porch Sports headquarters, WKOM 101.7 FM. 94.5 The Eagle, WZYX. Thank you guys down in Franklin County for sticking around for hour number 2. We will get to your Rebels a little later as we continue high school football previews and college football previews. We will talk OVC as well later this hour. But first, from pros to preps, in that order, we start with the professional team here in Middle Tennessee. Talk a little Tennessee Titans football. And to do that, we have with us today from Broadway Sports, Mr. John Glenn. And John, welcome in. Thanks for joining us.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
John, big topic out of Titans training camp yesterday, obviously, were Ryan Tannehill's remarks regarding the COVID-19 vaccination and that he was vaccinated and why he was vaccinated. What has been the reaction around camp to his comments?
It's hard to say, because the players themselves aren't talking too much about it. But, you get the sense that a number of players have changed their mind late, like Ryan Tannehill. The reason I say that, I think the numbers of vaccinations were fairly low in the earlier off season, in April-ish when they were going through some early workouts. But now you see a number of players on the field for stretch that are still wearing masks. And if they're wearing masks, it could mean, a few different things. Either they're not vaccinated, which is probably a small percentage of players because we know 90% are in the vaccination process. But it could also mean that they've also just gotten a first shot so far, or that they have gotten 2 shots but are still waiting for the full antibodies to build up. So, as I say, you're still seeing a fair amount of masks, and that to me indicates that, guys like Ryan Tannehill, there are certainly some guys who, just recently made that decision to get the vaccination.
Are the COVID-19 protocols, are they really as bad as he tried to make them out to be?
They're pretty restrictive. Yeah, they really are. You look at the field, first of all, is where we see the guys and they're wearing masks and kind of, the stretch and warm up. But really, it's much more restrictive. First when you go to the facility, these guys that have chosen not to get vaccinated, are basically eating separately from all their teammates. I think in some instances, meeting separately. They don't use hot tubs, saunas, things like that the other guys use. And then even these rules extend into the community and what these guys can do on their off time in terms of being around, certain numbers of people and so forth. So they're very restrictive. It's basically you're living a pretty miserable life, in terms of bonding with your teammates and kind of even enjoying a full life. So as Ryan Tannehill said, the NFL is certainly trying to, move the players' hands and they're having a lot of success. They're doing it, as we're seeing the vaccination numbers go up pretty quickly, it's clear the NFL is winning this battle.
Well, the Players Association doesn't seem to be putting up much of a fight, and I think that was the biggest issue for Tannehill and many others.
Certainly, yeah. You've seen some social media reaction to the NFLPA that it wasn't putting up enough of a fight and wasn't giving the players enough of a choice in that regard. These things are all bargained out, though. So perhaps. In order in exchange for concessions here, perhaps the players will get something down the line as well. But you just get the feeling, the general feeling that this is a real push on both the behalf of both the NFL and the NFLPA, and both seem to feel pretty strongly about it in terms of. Not only for the players, but for the players, or the people that deal with the players, whether those are in the facility or whether they're, family of the players as well. I think their feeling is that, this is a good thing.
Visiting with John Glennon of Broadway Sports, talking a little Tennessee Titans. John, on the field, happened to see a video from today's workout that you posted of A.J. Brown terrorizing some poor cornerback on a double move. got to be exciting to see him at work again, and Julio on the other side.
At full strength, by the way, with that ankle.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's just July, but seeing those guys in action, to the extent that you can be a fan as a respected journalist, what do you like about that Tennessee Titans offense?
Yeah, I mean, you know as well as I do, Mo, that over the years, when you thought of Titans, one of the last things you generally thought of was electric offense or high scoring, offensive units and so forth. So last year and what we expect of this year are takes a little bit of adjustment. But when you're out there and you see Julio and A.J. Brown lining up on opposite ends of one another, and you got Derrick Henry out there, and Tannehill with the numbers he's put up since he's become starter. It is exciting, just from a standpoint of a journalist. You enjoy watching talent out there, and I think I'm certainly looking forward to it. But like A.J. Brown, I thought that maybe it would take him a little bit of time to work his way back to peak form, because he had the two minor knee surgeries during the off season, and he didn't really work during OTAs. But boy, he has been just outstanding. In the couple of days we've seen him so far in training camp. Yeah, the one worry you have is that he's going to break a lot of defensive back spirits by the time the regular season starts. Julio Jones, we haven't seen him do as much in team drills yet. I think they're bringing him along slowly as he recovers from injury. He had a lot of hamstring problems and I think some foot problems last year as well. But certainly just in like individual drills and things, you see the height, the power, the speed that he has. So, as I say, boy, it's quite a twist from many years watching this team and when they were defensive oriented or when there was really no strength of the team, offense or defense. So, it should be fun to watch this year.
It's funny you mentioned that because Justice Mosqueda, and I don't know who this guy is, apparently Matt LaFleur made a comment that when he left Tennessee, they named Arthur Smith offensive coordinator and kept a lot of the same terminology. Sounds like he was trying to take some credit for the success of the Titans offense recently. But when he was here, that offense was 27th in scoring and 25th in yardage. Pretty bad in the red zone. And now it's the complete opposite, 4th in scoring, 2nd in yardage, and the league's best red zone offense. So whatever Matt LaFleur was trying to say, I don't think it went over the way he thought it was going to.
Right. Yeah, it's probably fair to say that Matt LaFleur, probably created, kind of a base, a foundation for things. But you're right. The numbers were not especially good for Matt LaFleur in his 1 year as offensive coordinator here. Now, clearly people must have still recognized that Matt LaFleur was a pretty bright offensive mind, because of what he'd done in L.A. and some of his ideas, at least in Tennessee anyway, because he certainly found a lot of success in Green Bay. But, yeah, it was really, Arthur Smith was really the guy who took it up, a huge notch. And those numbers would be even better under Arthur Smith had Ryan Tannehill been starting those first 6 or 7 games, as opposed to Marcus Mariota. They tried. I think they really, did everything they could to make it Marcus Mariota's job and kind of bent over backwards for him. But boy, it was such a drastic change, night and day when Tannehill came in. You just wonder how gaudy those numbers might have been that year if he played those extra 6 or 7 games.
John, so much attention has been given to the talent that the Titans have amassed on the offensive side of the ball, but yet folks tend to seemingly discount this team, and the only explanation we can come up with is because they were so bad defensively last year. Do you feel like they've done enough on defense to take advantage of what they've got going on offensively?
Yeah, that's certainly the big question, and there are two giant question marks on that defense in regards to Bud Dupree, the marquee free agent signing, edge rusher, the guy who they expect to make a big difference in the pass rush game. He's coming off a torn ACL. He's on the PUP list now, and just recently, earlier today, the Titans announced that he's also on the COVID-19 reserve list. Of course, the first-round draft pick, cornerback Caleb Farley, hasn't been spotted yet on the field for practice because he is coming back from injury himself, 2 back surgeries. So, I think we have to get a better sense of when these guys are going to be back and how much impact they'll have early in the season. I think that'll certainly make a difference as to how good a defense this is going to be. And then the secondary in general, there's so many new faces from last year with Adoree Jackson gone, Malcolm Butler gone, Desmond King gone. And you got a lot of youth at the corners in addition to an experienced guy in Janoris Jenkins. So I think they made some excellent or some strong moves. Another one I should mention, Danico Autry coming in on the defensive line. I think they made some strong moves, and I think on paper certainly this defense should be better. That said, it's a pretty low bar from last year because this was one very poor defense. But, I think if there's one priority above and beyond anything else that these defense is going to be focused on, it's going to be third down. They were just awful in that category last year, gave up over 50% of third down conversions. And I think that is the one biggest thing they feel can make a significant difference. If they can just get off the field more often, that makes them a whole lot better in terms of wear and tear, and in terms of obviously giving opponents more opportunities to score, time possession, a whole lot of things. So I think that's going to be a real focus as we move along here.
As training camp continues, anything from the rookies that stands out that you can maybe we can expect some production out of this draft class?
I think so. I obviously, as I mentioned, Caleb Farley still a question mark. Dylan Radin's the second-round pick, the right tackle. It's probably still going to be a transition time for him. He's coming in from a smaller school at North Dakota State, and I would think maybe at the start of camp, maybe he's behind Kendall Lamb a little bit at that right tackle spot. Again, maybe as camp moves along, maybe that changes. But really the guy that I think may make the most immediate impact of the rookies is one of the third-round picks, cornerback Elijah Molden, and the reason is because he is like a plug and play at a needy spot for the Titans, and that's the nickel corner. Elijah Molden played a ton of nickel corner when he was in college at Washington, has really kind of perfected his technique at the spot. And the Titans are very needy there because, Desmond King was their guy last year, no longer with the team, and the two other guys they had to try to fit in that spot, Christian Fulton and Chris Jackson, both rookies last year, didn't have much of a background as kind of a nickel or slot corner. And it showed, not surprisingly, because they were A, rookies, and B, had a very little off season. So I think Elijah Molden, is going to be a guy who steps in there right away. And today, I really noticed him, several pass breakups during camp. So he would be the guy that immediately jumps to mind in terms of an early impact among this rookie class. I think you're going to see some good things from him.
That is encouraging news. John Glennon on Sports on Twitter, at Glennon on I'm sorry, Glennon Sports. Sorry, we had Seco on Sports in the last segment, so and then Glenn on got me a little confused. Glennon Sports, Broadway Sports.
There you go.
At Glennon Sports on Twitter. John, thanks so much for taking some time today and giving us some insight on the Titans. We always appreciate what you do and keeping us informed through social media and everywhere else. So thank you, man.
Okay, thank you, guys.
That is John Glennon of Broadway Sports on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today.
Former coworker.
For those of you who can hear us, if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter or our website, you can. We are clearly having some issues both at our tower and with our streams, so we are working to get you the folks in.
They are one and the same, essentially. So yes.
Yeah. So, but we're working to get you back in Franklin County so that we can at least get our Franklin County football preview done. That being said, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, it's Edward Allen Marlowe. We'll talk Ohio Valley Conference football, that is sans Jacksonville State, and I bet there are a lot of folks. I bet there are a lot of folks happy about that, including one Murray State. But and I missed one earlier, Austin Peay. Can't believe you let me forget to go pee.
That's a you problem.
We'll talk.
Low-hanging fruit, right?
We'll talk. Like I said, when I was at Jacksonville and they would chant "Let's go pee," we would just say, "There's the bathroom." Yeah, it is what it was. Edward Allen Marlowe on the other side of the break. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Barn and Joint. We'll be right back right after this. Stick around.
Parks Motor Sales in Columbia has a large assortment of quality new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, a trusted sales staff, and financing plans that fit any budget. Visit Parks once and you'll quickly discover why people all over Middle Tennessee have been buying vehicles there for more than 60 years. And factory-certified technicians can service and repair your vehicle as long as you own it. Go to parksmotorsales.com or stop by the lot at 919 Nashville Highway and take a test drive today.
Are you thinking about a new fence? Maybe you need a pole barn. Then you should give Sands Fence Company a call. That's 931-309-1644. Will Sands has built his business based on the principles of honesty, quality, and integrity. Sands Fence Company has been in business for over 20 years, providing the community with farm, residential, and commercial fencing, as well as pole barns and buildings. Call today for a free estimate. Sands Fence Company, 931-309-1644. 931-309-1644.
Hi, I'm Steve, the garbage man. Have you been hauling your own garbage to the convenience center? Are you tired of doing it? Does your work schedule keep you from hauling it off regularly? Is your teenage son not taking it off like he promised when he got his driver's license? Do you have something better to do on Saturday? If any of these questions strike home to you, call the garbage man at 931-540-0919 and your problem will be solved.
Do you know Tillis Jewelry creates custom one-of-a-kind pieces that are available in our store now?
Hello, this is Rick Tillis, and that's right. We are known for our custom designs. We create jewelry using old mine cut or European cut diamonds to rare colored gemstones. We create these custom pieces for each season. I'm sure you can find something for yourself or a loved one.
Stop by our showroom and try on a Tillis Jewelry custom piece today. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram to view our designs and much more.
American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is built to a higher standard, so you can focus on the problems in your life that actually matter, like the drywall that somehow isn't. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, built to a higher standard.
Call Davis Heating and Cooling at 931-388-2090. Davis Heating and Cooling is your local American Standard dealer and proudly serves the Murray County area. Find Davis Heating and Cooling online and on Facebook or call today, 388-2090.
For 40 years, Beck Dental Care has been the personalized and comfortable option for the health of your smile. The caring staff maintains a high level of safety protocols and attention to detail. Advanced technology provides your choice of sedation and the best of dental implant solutions to restore complete oral health. Open until 7 p.m. 2 nights a week. 931-388-8452. Beck Dental Care in Columbia, 1603 Rosewood Drive.
Covering the teams you care about. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Once again, live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton. Here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Approaching the bottom of the hour number 2 here of the show on this Thursday edition of Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Coming to you from the Lee Company studio in the Front Porch Sports headquarters, WKOM 101.7 FM, 94.5 The Eagle. And happy to have you guys along with us on this journey as we continue previewing college football across the country. We have all but covered FBS outside of the Southeastern Conference, which we will do, as we will hopefully do it team by team. Now, whether or not that includes Oklahoma or and Texas.
No, we already hit them.
we did. But yeah, we'll do that team by team as we approach the season. But we have reached into the Big South, which we will talk about tomorrow. We have reached into other FCS conferences. And today, the FCS conference, which is home to every Tennessee FCS team. No? Chattanooga is not. Chattanooga is...
Neither is East Tennessee State. No, they're both SoCon.
ETSU is FCS?
Yes.
Boy, shows how much they produce.
And they're both in the Southern Conference.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We do have P, Tennessee State, Tech, and UT Martin. And there is Murray State and Southeast Missouri State, Eastern Illinois. There's one more I'm forgetting that's up there in Illinois.
SIU, Edwardsville, but they don't play football.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah. So anyway, we talk Ohio Valley Conference football today with Edward Allen Marlowe of WKDZ Radio. Appreciate you joining us, man.
Yeah, anytime. I really appreciate the invite.
Oh. You are very low. I'm not sure if that's an us problem or we can barely hear you.
I feel like with everything we've got going on, it's probably an us problem. Yeah, but
Here, is this better?
Yeah, it is.
Better.
Yeah, that's so much cleaner. All right, yeah, thanks, guys. I really appreciate you bringing me on.
No, we appreciate you coming on with us. Edward, when the OVC Media Days took place about a week or so ago, I guess I'd not been paying as much attention to Ohio Valley Conference football as I thought, because Murray State was the preseason number 1 pick, and did not really see that coming. Tell me why I should have.
Well, so I think the number one thing for me that Murray State, one thing that happened that I know we'll probably talk about later is Jacksonville State and Eastern Kentucky have bounced on to other ventures, other explorations. So I think that was a big that lopped the top off of 2 really good teams at the top of the OVC. But credit to Murray State. Number one, Dean Hood is back, After a long, fruitful career, FCS, FBS, he's come back to the OVC, coached at Eastern Kentucky. He was the OVC Coach of the Year last year. So, obviously both he and his staff are back. So there's a lot there that's, really important in keeping that continuity. But speaking of continuity, Murray State returns all 22 starters. And that is a wild thing that doesn't ever happen in college football.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
It is legitimately happening at Murray State, 22 starters. And I'm going to be honest, guys, a lot of competition coming this fall because they've got a great recruiting class and some guys that have been on the roster for a while that'll push for snaps. But, it's wild when you have 22 starters come back. And you went 5-2 last year with close losses to Austin Peay and Jacksonville State. You've got a lot of expectations to meet in 2021 for fall football.
Without question, but your coaching staff sleeps a lot easier, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. Not only do they sleep easier, but the crazy thing is, I think this team is just it's going to be even hungrier after tasting that success. That they hadn't won as many games. They hadn't won 5 straight games in the OVC since 1997, with Houston Nutt. And so, when you dredge up those kind of memories of glory football from Murray State, that makes guys a lot hungrier. And it was a last-second drive and loss to Austin Peay, last-second field goal after tying the game late. So that was that one hurt, and that's, of course, a rivalry game, being only about 40 miles apart. And then Jacksonville State, of course, the class of the league for the last about decade. That was a mostly competitive game. JSU scores a couple touchdowns late in Murray, and then Murray had a couple of chances late to make it a 1 or 2 score game and get things interesting, and it just didn't come to fruition like they had hoped. But you get so close, even in the spring, that's made the fall just that much more important for these guys. So I think that's where the sleep. They're not necessarily comfortable just yet, but I think Coach Hood knows there's a bunch of guys in this locker room that are just really hungry for this type of success.
Starting with Preston Rice, I imagine.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely. He's legitimately just grown up in Murray. That's the thing. Came in early out of Waynesboro and kind of stuck around. Got to, I believe he graduated from high school a little early. Got to Murray, got to work, waited his turn. And now has just been really, really successful in running this methodical offense. And it's funny. I agree with Dean Hood. He said a lot of things in the last year about game managers and how they kind of get the knock for not being, maybe like Patrick Mahomes, 350 yards passing, 50 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, maybe 1 interception. Preston maybe won't give you those numbers week in and week out, but he's not going to turn the football over. As a matter of fact, last year, Murray State led this last spring, Murray State led the OVC in turnover differential, +7, and that's in 7 games. So that's pretty, when you can go +1 on average per game, per Sunday, which of course this fall will be Saturdays again, but when you can do that, that's some really special football. And so I think that's where Preston hangs his hat the most, is the fact that he just doesn't turn the football over, which is a key ingredient to the football game.
Speaking with Edward Allen Marlowe of WKDZ Radio, talking a little OVC football. And as you mentioned, Ohio Valley Conference football took place on Sundays this past spring. I played a spring season, as did a lot of FCS programs. And we talked to Greg Seitz, the AD down at Jacksonville State back in the spring. What concerns are you hearing from coaches, from administrators about, kind of doubling up basically on football in 2021, coming off that spring season and now playing again here in the fall, full contact football?
That's a great question. I think it's I think you need to look at it from both sides of the spectrum. On one side, you've got football teams that are extremely sharp right now. I fully expect a visceral, cutthroat, competitive conference season, especially with everybody returning to 11 games. They're going to get some non-conference games in. The league, to make up for the loss of EKU and JSU, are playing some non-conference league games, if that makes any sense. where Murray State will play a couple of conference opponents that will not count against conference slate. And so, I think the double-edged sword is, well, you're going to have teams that are extremely sharp coming off of a hot spring, like the Racers, who maybe came away fairly unscathed, didn't have a lot of injuries, didn't have to deal with a lot of concerns, coming in super healthy. And then you've got some other teams that are probably a little banged up, maybe a couple of ACL injuries or some MCL concerns. And, now all of a sudden they've had the summer to work out, but they haven't had time to really get healthy because they've had to jump right back into a regimen of preparing for what will be an onslaught of football. I mean, like I said, when you're all playing the OVC, that's great, but most everybody plays a pretty strong non-conference slate. And last year, Austin Peay, JSU, they took advantage of some non-conference games during the fall, which not many teams did. So when they jumped into, conference play in the spring, they were ready to go. They were pretty well-oiled machines. JSU just kind of speaks for themselves. So, I think for the Racers, I think it's going to be a boon to bounce back and stay hungry, because it's right at the back of their mind. 3 months ago, they were fighting for an OVC championship. But other teams, I think they probably wanted a little bit more time to ice down, get prepared, maybe get healthy. But I say these things, and every team has to deal with injuries across the country. And I know that a lot of guys, particularly in Murray, are just ready to play. And so this is kind of a unique opportunity for them. This kind of almost feels like high school, where you have a really strong spring, workout, games that counted, and then you bounce right into a fall where you're competitive again. So, like I said, with anything else, it can be a double-edged sword.
Over the years, before Jacksonville State became really, I guess, a perennial playoff contender, the OVC was pretty much a one-bid league. 7 of the last 11 years, an OVC team has defeated an FBS opponent. They've also placed multiple teams in the playoffs 7 times in the last 11 years. Even where this conference stands now without Jacksonville State, you're talking about SEMO, who won this conference a couple of years ago, Austin Peay, Murray State. This is a conference that could still potentially have multiple playoff contenders no matter what, because it's pretty strong, much stronger than it was, say, when Jacksonville State entered the conference in 2004 or whenever it was.
I think that's an excellent observation, and one that I would love to expand upon. I mean, you're exactly right. You're taking a look at a situation that not only have there been OVC teams that have been just competitive against FBS teams, but they've done well in the playoffs. Jacksonville State, SEMO are just 2 of the most recent examples. And you've had NFL talent come out of the league. Jimmy Garoppolo needs no introduction, and he's just the most recent in the back of my mind. And there's other guys that have jumped into the NFL. Like Quincy Williams, linebacker from the Racers, was drafted in the 3rd round 2 years ago to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and is now a special teamer for those guys down there. So, it's Dominique Rogers-Cromartie, was drafted out of Tennessee State, and I mean, golly, DRC was incredible. And so, there aren't a ton of names that have come out of the OVC and have had a huge amount of success in the NFL, but there's always a guy or two every year that I think has just got a chance to really do something special at the next level. And so, it's not even just the NFL talent, though. These teams have not only recruited well within the pools, getting a lot of JUCO, FBS cast-offs, I think can lead to a lot of success in the OVC, but a lot of it's just consistency and teams really sharpening each other, and it's prepared. You got to credit Jacksonville State's entry for that, but UT Martin, Jason Simpson's won 90 games as a head coach at UT Martin. They're one of the more winning programs consistently over the last few years. I know last year was kind of down for them. Tech's had a couple of really interesting years here in the last 5. I love Rod Reed, but I'm excited to see what Tennessee State is fixing to do, with Eddie and Hugh at the helm, and Starling at running back. It's just the league's just gotten better from the top all the way down to the very bottom. The history that Eastern Illinois has, it won't stay at the bottom forever. There's always going to be some special quarterback or head coach that's born out of there that goes and does the next special thing. So the league itself has just stayed consistent and improved, particularly over this last decade.
Who is the sleeper in this conference? UT Martin, Tennessee State, Tennessee Tech, and Eastern Illinois were picked 4, 5, 6, and 7. Which one of those can maybe play a little spoiler?
I would love to think it would be an amazing story if Tennessee State did it. And I know that, I really, in the back of my mind, first of all, I'm a Titans fan, so of course, love Eddie, love what he did for Nashville, and love what he continues to do for Nashville. I'd like to think that was just more than just like, let's go get a glitzy pick, a glitzy head coach. I'd love to think that was a cool story for them. And when you've got a guy like Starling and an automatic kicker like Antonio Zeta who bombs it from 60 regularly, those are the types of things that can win you close football games. You take a look at how the Racers were so successful in the spring. Their margin of error was relatively small. They were the top offense at 28 points per game, but defensively gave up 23. Played a lot of close games and won a lot of close games, and that's good football. But if you can just turn the defense around a little bit, maybe at Tennessee State, then all of a sudden I think you'd probably have a problem on your hands for the rest of the league. But look at the preseason picks. I don't necessarily think it's, Murray State, it's great for them. I know that Dean Hood will have his guys ready, but he'll be the first to tell you how competitive this league is going to be this year and moving forward. I think it's going to be an absolute dogfight. We haven't even mentioned SEMO and what Coach Tuke is going to have ready for the fall. They're going to be absolutely incredible, and they're a problem defensively. And they were picked to almost win the league. They were right there in that number 2 tie with Austin Peay. And then, like I said, I'd say you asked the question about the sleeper. I'd say Martin, and not just because they were picked 4th, but Martin. They have a really good tight end in Rodney Williams. They take care of the football. They're good defensively, and they're good at home. And so they're going to be really, really furious, frustrated. I was going to use a worse word, but they're going to be really upset about how their spring went. So, especially when it opened with a loss to the Racers. So it's one of those situations where Jason's going to have those guys ready to go. He's been there for too long and been too successful to finish below 500. So, but I say these things, and I think the OVC is a multi-bid league this year. That's my mild take for the day. Write that one down.
Yeah, got you. Edward Allen Marlowe of WKDZ Radio, thanks for joining us. Tell folks where they can find you on Twitter and elsewhere.
Yeah, it's at Dream Marlowe 85. I'm a news and sports reporter for WKDZ, but I live in Murray, and after 10 years of the newspaper business, I'm working elsewhere. It's my hometown, and still love OVC football. So you can find me there, and I'll be there. So.
We know how that works, and continue to success to you on the radio side and everything else you've got going on. Edward Allen, we appreciate your time.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for reaching out to me, guys. I love the OVC. I'll stand it all day long.
Hey, all I'm saying is we can keep having him on if he's just going to keep propping Jacksonville State up like that. So I'm a JSU grad.
Yeah,
we didn't tell you that.
I was going to try to get that in at some point, that we needed to kind of ease up on the JSU talk. Because
I'm loving it.
You guys can call me some other time about it, but I think, I just don't think it was a surprise to see JSU and EKU leave. And I'll leave you with this. I think the OVC has kept this expansion discussion quiet for good reason. I think they're really investigating where they think they can head to replace EKU and JSU. And I don't know, just a kind of a gut hunch. I think we'll be pleasantly surprised to see who the OVC has coming through those doors to replace those 2 teams. Might be more than 2 teams. You never know. But if it's 2 teams, I know that football's a big focus. I know that, tertiary sports are a big focus. And I know that especially basketball, men's and women's basketball will be a really big focus. So really looking forward to seeing what the OVC comes up with for invitations to the league.
Perhaps they'll just make Belmont start playing football.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That would be terrific. I'd love to see it. So.
We appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much. We will talk to you again sometime soon, I promise.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, that's Edward Allen Marlowe, WKDZ Radio. When we come back, JP, do we have any update on whether or not they can hear us in Franklin County?
I don't know for sure. I do know that the issue we had with the tower is still there. So we
think we should push?
We may be flying solo on Facebook.
Well, if that's the case, we're going to preview a high school football team on the other side of the break. We'll decide who that high school football team is in the break because we'll try to get in touch with them and find out if we're on down there. If we are, it'll be Franklin County. If we're not, it probably won't be Franklin County. So stick around. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Right back after this.
One-stop shopping. That's why so many people shop Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat of Columbia. As the #1 volume CDJR dealer in Tennessee, we offer the largest selection of new Ram, Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler vehicles. And when you have the largest selection of new, you have the largest selection of used, too. Combine that with state-of-the-art fast, accurate service, and you've got Tennessee's #1 volume dealer. Shop online at Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Columbia.net. Middle Tennessee's Ram Truck and Jeep headquarters. You can count on us. Based on combined retail and fleet sales as reported by Chrysler in the state of Tennessee in 2019.
Hello, I'm Barbara Lincoln with Hollins Pharmacy. You may have heard our previous commercials about compression hosiery that we carry at Hollins Pharmacy. Well, we've recently expanded into a full line of knee braces, back, wrist, ankle, and other support wear. We will gladly help you get just the right fit for these items and, of course, special order items to ensure the proper fit. Come see us at Hollins Pharmacy, 1608 Hatcher Lane, or call us at 931-388-4233. 388-4233.
If you come to Arby's from 2 to 5 p.m., you can get sliders for $1. For another $1, you can get a small drink or fries or a snack shake. And for the low, low price of another $1, you can round out this afternoon snack with warm cookies. It's really a meal at this point, but call it a snack. That way, you can come back for dinner. Arby's, we have the meat.
Dollar price valid for small fries and drinks, snack shakes, and classic sliders. Available at participating locations for a limited time.
Nice Traeger grill. Thanks, man. Hiller gave it to us for free when I bought my new HVAC unit. We also upgraded to a tankless water heater and got this free Yeti cooler. What a deal.
This month, when you buy select new HVAC systems from Hiller, we'll give you a free Traeger grill. And you'll get a free Yeti cooler when you buy a new tankless water heater. Enjoy great upgrades for your home and some free backyard upgrades for your family. Visit happyhiller.com today.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Serving Murray County for 40 years, the Jewelers Bench has provided the highest quality jewelry at the very best prices. They work hard to make their customers happy, and it's paid off. Their customers keep going back. Quality jewelry, custom vintage and estate pieces, and professional jewelry and watch repairs. We offer jewelry loans up to $4,500, and we will buy your gold. The Jewelers Bench, still here, still the same. 808 Trotwood Avenue, Columbia.
Terrence here at Shepherd Lumberyard, where we value you, the customer. We've been serving Columbia and surrounding areas since 1946. We're located in our new location at 103 Cemetery Avenue. Anything that has to do with building or remodeling, we're here to assist. When you shop local, you help shape the community. We are locally owned, family owned, and veteran owned. And by the way, God is in charge. You can reach us at 931-388-3612, and our website is shepherdlumberyard@yahoo.com.
Summer is the season of fun. Here are some tips to make sure you enjoy yours. Tip number 1, lawn darts still aren't a good idea.
Ouch, these things should be illegal.
I think they are. Tip number 2, you're never too old to chase the ice cream truck.
Hey, slow down. I just want a dreamsicle.
And tip number 3, if you're looking for some real summer fun, play the Summer Instant Games only from the Tennessee Lottery. Game-changing fun. Please play responsibly.
John here, reporting from the Tennessee Lottery Summer Games. Today we have Erica from Knoxville and Janet from Memphis, a dynamic duo going for the green in synchronized scratching. And they're off. The scratching has just begun, and oh boy, is this a feat of athleticism. Look at the dexterity of their fingers and the ferocious tenacity of this team, and the vice grip on that coin. They're going all the way. They've just won the green.
Do you have what it takes to be a big winner this summer? Play the Summer Instant Games with chances to win up to $500,000 only from the Tennessee Lottery. Game-changing fun. Please play responsibly.
Hey folks, it's Chandler Anderson from the Right Care Primary Care and Pediatric Clinic. Folks, we are open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday. We provide pediatric care, primary care, and even urgent care if you need to get in during those hours. Our provider there is Kelly Kelly. She does DOT exams as well as well woman exams, and she does our pediatric well child physicals. So folks, if you're looking for the right care and a provider that's not going anywhere, come see us at the Right Care Primary Care and Pediatric Office.
Local sports talk you'll only find here. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, the podcast apparently, because it's the only way you're going to find this. The preview of high school sports continues. Can't skip a day because we made this happen. We can't skip a day. So if you are listening on the podcast, we are ready to talk a little Independence Eagles football. Head coach Scott Blade. And it's going to be a really interesting year for the Eagles because I'll be honest with you, this team is loaded with talent. And when Scott Blade's got a quarterback, they are dangerous.
Yeah, and he feels like he does. You know, they've not had to break in a first-year quarterback since last year. Yeah. And we see how that went.
Exactly.
So, you know.
And this isn't a guy who's taken time off from playing quarterback other than just being a backup.
Well, he's taken time off from the standpoint that he's a transfer. Joe Cummings came in from Battleground Academy, so he had to sit out last year, which I guess this is Independence making up for losing C.J. Beathard, who transferred from Independence to BGA. So
there you go.
It's a little reversal. But what we've seen out of Cummings in 7-on-7 has been pretty impressive. Big kid, strong arm. And when you've got the guys to throw it to that he has in, say, a River Katina or a Ty Lockwood or some of those other guys, or when he can turn and hand it to Trey Hartwell, makes it a lot easier for a quarterback.
Yeah, no doubt this kid has been fantastic to watch over the summer. Recently visited Florida State with Ty Lockwood. If you look at this kid, size-wise, he fits the bill.
He looks it. He absolutely looks it. Yeah. So, and the sky's the limit for that kid. And playing in the offense that he's going to have an opportunity to play in, he's going to have a chance to go on and play at the next level.
This is a team that, you saw the game. That Brentwood Indy game was – this team –
both those Brentwood Indy games were fantastic high school football games.
This team was a Lambert Strode roll away from advancing to the quarterfinals against the team that eventually went to the state championship game. They were that close.
Yeah. Yeah. I would dare say that Independence feels like they should have won.
Oh, no doubt they should have. That was the absolute unluckiest play in Independence football history. Unluckiest.
Okay. All right. There's nothing else that immediately comes to mind, so I won't dispute that. But again, just goes to show you, Independence teams, particularly under Scott Blade, they expect to be in those situations. They expect to come out on top in those situations. And when you have the long-term success that this program has had, that just kind of becomes, like you said, the expectation.
And it feels really bad to – I mean, this is a team that they've been knocked out of the second round of the playoffs 3 years in a row. The last two against Brentwood. One, a double overtime loss where they fumbled an option going into the end zone. Would have, had they scored there, they win the game because they had held Brentwood to a field goal. They score a touchdown there, they win the game, and they move on. Last year, the third roll. I mean, this team, despite having lost in the second round of the playoffs each year, has been right there on the cusp of the top level of 6A football, even since moving up from 5A.
And last year, if they win that game, then they're going to play Franklin in the quarterfinals because Franklin has knocked off Ravenwood across town.
Right. A team that they they have not beaten, and I couldn't tell you when the last time they beat Ravenwood. But, I mean, that's kind of the only team that's been their Achilles heel is that Ravenwood team. Outside of that, I mean, they've beaten Brentwood, I'm not sure if they beat them in the regular season last year.
They did.
They've beaten them in the regular season the last 2 years and lost in the playoffs. So, I mean, that's the unfortunate situation that they're in. But that's where they play. That's the conference that you play in. The district that they play in is just insane.
Now, what changes about that region this time around, Region 7 6A, is that you've got a new coach at Franklin, you've got a new coach at Ravenwood, you've got a new coach at Brentwood. Now, the new coach at Ravenwood is the old coach at Ravenwood. Will Hester has come back, but new folks in charge at both Brentwood and at Franklin. So,
and you get your cross-town rival, basically.
Yeah, Summit comes up from 5A, the reigning 5A state champion. So this region's no picnic, but, I mean, Indy's as ready for it as anybody's going to be, I think.
There's no question. Independence has not beaten Ravenwood since 2011. And, yeah, that's a shock to me. And with Will Hester on the sideline, it probably doesn't get any easier for Scott Blade. But look for River Katina to be a big name. Brooks Sapone is going to be a big name for this team. Obviously, Ty Lockwood, the big time tight end, who's a multi-star recruit. Jack Rummel is going to help River Katina in that defensive backfield, and they are going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, and it's a schedule that's going to have them ready. CPA, Lipscomb, Pope John Paul, East Nashville, in addition to their region foes. So
yeah, CPA and Lipscomb just CPA and Lipscomb, no big deal. Pope John Paul II hadn't been good in a while. Just kidding. They're always very good. So look, no stranger to playing tough games is Scott Blades. So their teams will be ready. We will be ready tomorrow. We hope. Coming back at you. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We thank you guys for tuning in and sticking with us through the podcast and wherever else you have found us today. For Mo Patton, JP Plant. I know that did not just come back up, JP. Look at your other computer. Are you kidding me? Come see us tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a great day and stay cool, Columbia.